Welcome to today's explainer. We're going to take the seemingly dry logistics of global trade and turn them into what they actually are, a high-stakes game of global strategy. We constantly take for granted how everyday products end up in our hands. But right behind the curtain, there's this fascinating, highly calculated ecosystem of constant decision-making. Let's get right into it. Think about a simple chocolate malt drink. How exactly does a raw cocoa bean, harvested literally thousands of miles away, magically transform into that packaged beverage sitting in your kitchen cabinet? Well, spoiler alert, it doesn't just happen by accident. We've got 5 main steps to cover today to map this all out. We'll hit the anatomy of a supply chain, the make or buy dilemma, the outsourcing gamble, 4 supply chain strategies, and finally, matching strategy to operations. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the anatomy of a supply chain, focusing on the macro view of global trade. Now, the classic textbook definition calls this the effective and efficient integration of suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, and retailers to reduce system-wide costs and achieve customer value. Right. But in the real world, success here isn't just about moving boxes quickly and cheaply anymore. Today, it's measured by your resilience when disruptions hit, how fast you adapt to wild market changes, and ultimately, delivering the exact value the consumer wants right when they want it. If you map this out, you get this massive, complex network from the point of origin all the way to the consumer. It's pretty amazing. You can essentially trace a horizontal path and watch raw materials transform. They start at the origin, move through suppliers, get handed off to manufacturers, pass along to distributors, and finally hit the retailer. It's a continuous two-way street. Materials flow downstream while money and information flow upstream. To really ground this, let's look at the actual journey of something like Milo. The whole thing kicks off way upstream with second-tier suppliers. We're talking raw cocoa farmers in Ghana. They pass those raw materials to first-tier suppliers like Barry Callebaut, who process the cocoa. Next, it hits the final manufacturer, Nestle, who transforms it into the finished drink powder. From there, it's handed off to distributors like DKSH Malaysia for storage and shipping, before finally landing on the shelf at a retailer like 7-Eleven, right into your hands. That brings us to Section 2, the make or buy dilemma. This is the crucial micro-decision. This right here is the ultimate sourcing showdown. Every single manufacturer has to look at the parts they need and ask a fundamental question. Do we make this ourselves using our own internal resources, or do we buy it and contract it out to outside specialized vendors? It completely pits the safety, privacy, and tight control of insourcing against the flexibility and sheer expertise of outsourcing. The visual divergence of this choice is absolutely huge. On one side, insourcing means keeping an iron grip on your activities and protecting your private info. It's very traditional, internal operations. But choosing to buy, that means transferring your firm's activities, assets, and sometimes even your own employees over to outside vendors. It radically alters your company's physical footprint and core priorities. So let's weigh those exact risks and rewards in Section 3, the outsourcing gamble. On the upside, outsourcing could be an absolute catalyst for growth. First off, you get immediate cost savings by tapping into cheaper sources. But even more importantly, it lets a company relentlessly focus on its core competencies, the stuff they actually do best. By bringing in specialized experts, you can dramatically improve quality, bring in fresh external innovation, and seriously reduce your time to market. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? Well, hold on, because the dark side of outsourcing packs some major company-threatening risks. You instantly lose operational control. It is so much harder to guarantee quality and delivery schedules when the process is literally out of your hands. You're also looking at increased logistics and inventory holding costs. Internally, it can really tank employee morale because people start worrying about their jobs. And then there's the ultimate nightmare scenario. By handing over your blueprints and processes, you risk inadvertently teaching your vendors how to clone your products. You could literally be creating your own direct competitors. Moving on to Section 4, 4 supply chain strategies, where we categorize approaches based on demand and supply. Because of all those risks we just talked about, your strategy depends entirely on the kind of market chaos you're dealing with. If we look at this as a matrix, it really boils down to 2 variables. Is your customer demand predictable or unpredictable? And is your supply stable or highly uncertain? Based on that, you get 4 distinct real-world models. Let's look at how the heavyweights do it. If you've got predictable demand and a stable supply, you go with an efficient strategy, like Walmart, bulk purchasing to squeeze out every single penny of cost. Unpredictable demand but stable supply, that's a responsive chain, like Zara, doing small batches so they can jump on fast-moving trends. Stable demand but risky supply, you need a risk hedging model, like Toyota, where you multi-source to completely avoid disruptions. And if everything is pure chaos, high variability in demand, and huge supply risks, you need an agile hybrid approach. Think of Apple juggling massive iPhone hype alongside unpredictable global chip shortages.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, matching strategy to operations, and how these overarching business strategies actually shape the ecosystem. Here's the thing. Having a brilliant strategy mapped out on a whiteboard? It's completely useless if your day-to-day operations don't match it. Everything has to align perfectly. If your strategy is cost leadership, your operations have to obsess over lowest cost suppliers, minimizing inventory to slash carrying costs, and finding the absolute cheapest transportation. But if you're using a response strategy, you need suppliers with high capacity, you'll gladly pay a premium for fast delivery, and you're definitely keeping safety stock around as a buffer. Going for differentiation? Then you need suppliers with serious product development skills, minimal inventory to avoid obsolescence, and highly efficient, knowledgeable transport.
What this means practically is that even the design of the product itself changes. If you want a cost leadership model, you're making quality products at lower prices. Response strategy, you need low setup times and rapid production. And for a differentiation strategy, you're designing modular parts so you can offer unique, customizable selections to your customers. Your operations and your overarching supply chain strategy are literally inseparable.
So, putting it all together, supply chains are not just trucks moving boxes down a highway. They are living, breathing ecosystems built on strategic choices, intense risk management, and the relentless pursuit of customer value. Every time a company chooses to make or buy or prioritizes cost over speed, they are carefully engineering the reality of global trade.
As we wrap up this explainer, I've got a challenge for you. Take a second and look around the room you're in right now. Try to guess the hidden strategic matrix that brought those items to you. Was that highly customized laptop on your desk built on an agile chain? Is that cheap plastic pen the result of an efficient cost leadership model? Once you start looking at the world through the lens of supply chains, you quickly realize that absolutely nothing around you arrived by accident. Thanks for exploring with me today, and I'll catch you next time.